Okay. Get it together. Get it together. You know how I said in my top 10 anime titles I will never review? How I would never review anything from Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli? The reason being is that anything from Hayao Miyazaki or Studio Ghibli is just too sacred to make jokes for. I mean, look what happened to the Nostalgia Critic.
I'm gonna review Ponyo!
This, however, I will gladly make an exception. Now, Miramax's release of Princess Mononoke wasn't the first time that a movie from Hayao Miyazaki has been brought over to the United States. That distinction goes to Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind under the name Warriors of the Wind. But first, I think we need a little context to show what we are going up against here. In 1984, Hayao Miyazaki and the animation studio Topcraft released their first animated feature, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. The film became such a huge hit, as well as an internationally acclaimed film, that Hayao Miyazaki became a household name in Japan, often being credited as the Walt Disney of Japanese animation. And of course, this resulted in Topcraft dissolving into a much larger animation studio helmed by the legendary director, Studio Ghibli, about a year later. The film also became the starting point for many great Japanese animators, such as Hideaki Anno, who would later go on to direct Neon Genesis Evangelion. Enter New World Pictures, who wished to adapt the anime into English in order to distribute the film into the United States. And in 1989, the United States was treated to the theatrical release of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind under the name Warriors of the Wind. Unfortunately, what this movie got in the United States was the usual 4Kids treatment, as the film was heavily edited in order to fit into a PG rating. Which doesn't make sense considering that the uncut version of this film was given a PG rating anyway, with its re-release under Disney many years later. But enough lollygagging. I've put this off long enough. Let's dive right into Warriors of the Wind. But there is one thing that I really want to say, folks. Be sure to check your volume. This is going to get loud. So our story begins with Master Yupa investigating an abandoned village taken over by a forest of poisonous plants and voracious killer insects.
Another village destroyed. We better leave before the air kills us, too.
So that's where the Chocobo originated from. Hell, even Hironobu Sakaguchi mentioned that this anime was a direct influence to his Final Fantasy series. So now we move on to the opening credits sequence, which in my opinion is one of the... Wait a minute! Where the hell did the opening credits go? You're telling me they removed the opening credits sequence? 30 seconds in and already they're messing with this movie. What's next? Oh, don't tell me they changed the main character's name, didn't they?
And in this valley, a spirited princess named Zandra dedicates herself to a tomorrow of peace and joy and hope.
Zandra? They've changed her name to Zandra. You know, to us Miyazaki fans, that ranks right up there with What's a Paladin and Bat Credit Card. This is absolutely unacceptable!
What's a paladin?
In fact, most of the characters in this film have had their names changed. Only a couple characters in this film retain their original names, but they are so mispronounced, you might as well call them something else. Like, for instance, if they kept the main character's original name, they'd probably mispronounce it as nausea. But to spare you the confusion, I have decided to stick with the characters' original names. And is it just me, or does the voice actress behind Nausicaa, aka Zandra, sound oddly familiar?
I missed you, Uncle. I'm glad to have you back. The sounds of fighting again.
And now for all you co-eds who wish to become scholars, here's Mr. Know-It-All.
Son of a bitch, it is the same voice actress. So now we cut to the replacement opening title that is played over the scene where Zandra, is exploring through the toxic jungle, and while collecting samples of the plant life in the jungle, she discovers the shell of a long-dead ohm.
The shell of a giant gorgon.
No. In the original, it is called an ohm. This is a freaking gorgon. Oh yeah, and since some shots from the scene have been removed, you probably should notice that the music and sound effects are out of sync when playing both versions back to back. For instance, when Nausicaa tries to stab it and uses gunpowder to break the eyelid free, and the shot where it starts snowing pollen. In fact, brace yourselves folks, a good 20 minutes of the original film were removed in this version.
Why?
That's what I'd like to know! However, Nausicaa is distracted by a large noise outside and goes out to see Master Yupa being chased by an ohm with glowing red eyes, and she jumps on her glider to help him.
She got a great ass!
Okay, so she's actually wearing a suit underneath that blue dress of hers, but considering how it's colored, can you honestly tell the difference? She tries to get its attention, and when that fails, she decides to drop a bunch of flash grenades in order to startle it, and... Did the music just unexpectedly cut out? Okay, so it does the same thing in the original version, but it's still kind of jarring how the music just quits right in the middle of an action sequence. Has anybody ever heard of a fade-out before? So she stuns the monster insect with a set of flash grenades and charms it to go back into the forest where it belongs, and Yupa thanks her for her help.
Lord Yama!
While I've grown old, you've grown beautiful.
I missed you, Uncle. I'm glad to have you back.
Time out! Somebody didn't look over the script very well, as in the original version, Lord Yupa and Nausicaa have no familial relationship with each other. In fact, he's just a friend of Nausicaa's father. So they head off for Nausicaa's home in the Valley of the Wind, and Yupa gets a hero's welcome. And here we get another deleted scene in which Yupa is presented with a newborn baby and is asked to name it. They take some time inside to discuss the encroaching toxic jungle and about a prophecy that a warrior would come and restore the balance between man and nature. The next morning, they discover a Tolmekian cargo ship in trouble, and Nausicaa takes off to guide the troubled airship, but...
It's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flames now, and the flame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. all the humanity and all the fans been screaming around it.
However, one of the giant bugs that attack the cargo ship manages to survive, and Nausicaa tries to calm it down and leads the giant flying insect back to its home in the toxic jungle. Unfortunately, this also catches the attention of the Tolmekian Air Force, and while the villagers are busy studying Majin Buu's cocoon, the Tolmekians attack.
Assassins!
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die!
However, Lord Yupa intervenes in the fight, tells Nausicaa to stand down, and insists the Tolmekians' leader that they have no business there and that they should leave. Their leader tries to explain herself.
You are very persuasive, Lord Yapa, with words as well as your sword. We came here to help these people.
So the first thing you do is attack them, take over their village with swords, guns, and tanks, kill their king, and then you tell me that you want to help them.
Bull frickin' horse shit.
We are your hope, your only hope for survival. Together we can build a future of peace and prosperity. You people of this valley don't know how to stop the toxic jungle. But we do. We can burn and destroy it. We can eliminate the toxic jungle once and for all.
To ensure that human civilization, not insect, dominates this galaxy now and always.
Right over there, man.
That is one big pile of shit.
So Nausicaa decides to agree with the Tolmekians' proposal and go with them, and oh god. I can't believe they did this! But they just removed one of the most pivotal and important scenes throughout the entire film! This particular scene is where Yupa discovers that Nausicaa has been growing her own greenhouse full of plants found in the toxic jungle that are somehow not poisonous to humans. She reveals that the plants on the surface have been absorbing the toxins through polluted soil and water, and through their pollen, disperse those toxins through the air. But who cares about preachy environmentalist bullshit, even though it is one of the most important plot points in the entire film, when we can have gigantic air battles as the convoy is attacked by